So this video was made in collaboration with the MegaFab Number project, and my MegaFab number is 21,080,669.9597 and so on. So in order to define our number, we first need to define a function. N of ijk equals sum from 1 to I of the sum from 1 to j of the natural log of n divided by the natural log of m to the power k. Now, if you're familiar with your logarithm properties, you may notice that we can replace our second sum with the natural log of j factorial. Now, having a sum with m to the power k in the denominator should make us think of the Riemann zeta function. We can in fact get a relation out of this, but we have to cheat a bit. We define y equals gamma inverse of x to be the number such that x is the gamma of y plus 1. For example, the gamma inverse of 2 is 2 and the gamma inverse of 6 is 3. If we define this function, then we get that n of infinity gamma inverse of e and s is equal to zeta of s, and gamma inverse of e is about 2.31. Now, our number is just n of a million, and 2, which is the natural log of a million factorial times the sum from 1 to a million of 1 divided by m squared. Now, we can in fact prove that our number is irrational. To prove that it's irrational, we're going to use two lemmas. The first of which is that if r is rational, e to the power r is irrational. Proof of this is pretty long, and I would say check out Proofs from the Book, the chapter on some irrational numbers. Our second lemma is that if a is irrational and r is rational, then a times r is irrational, which is pretty easy to show. Now, because of our first lemma, the natural log of a million factorial must be irrational, because if it was rational, then a million factorial would be irrational, which it isn't. And therefore, our number is also irrational because the sum part of our number is rational, so the product has to be irrational. We can in fact go one step further and prove that this is transcendental. Now, our first lemma is pretty powerful and extremely hard to prove. It's that e to the alpha is transcendental for algebraic alpha that aren't 0. And I would recommend looking this up to find a proof. Our second lemma is that if alpha is transcendental and r is rational, then alpha times r is transcendental, which is pretty easy to see. Now, a consequence of our first lemma is that the natural log of a million factorial is transcendental for almost the exact same reason that it is irrational. And therefore, again, by similar reasoning, our number n of a million, and 2 must be transcendental.